Good morning, good Tuesday morning, Sun Devil Nation. How are we today? I hope you guys had a wonderful start to the week. We are on a quick turnaround with our Sun Devils playing right away on a Thursday night ESPN featured college football classic. Your Arizona State Sun Devils are facing the Texas State Bobcats on Thursday in San Marcos, Texas, our last out-of-conference game of the season as our Sun Devils look to start off strong 3-0. Yesterday was a very celebratory day as we commemorated our own bell cow number 4 Cam Skattebo as the Associated Press Offensive Player of the Week. So out of every single college football player in this country, Cam Skattebo was recognized as the offensive player to be acknowledged. Wonderful stat line from the boy Cam Skattebo. But this segment is about the men up front, the 5 guys that help block and ensure that Cam Skattebo is running down these gaps, not only to be untouched, but to be full of passion, because this O-line feeds off the energy of the running backs. So a really cool feature that I absolutely appreciated was how interchangeable our offensive line has been. With Sean Nea injured out, he potentially could earn a starting spot back when he gets healthy, but who knows, because Cade Briggs, going into his last year of eligibility, has performed amazing. Our interior lineman is actually just all of them are in their last years of eligibility with Ben Coleman, Lee Fautanu, and Cade Briggs. And you can tell there's some sort of authority down there in terms of running that inside zone. And with Cam Skattebo having amazing gap integrity, no wonder why we've seen such a successful run game. The coolest feature that I loved to see when just going back on the film was seeing how interchangeable Emmett Bull was at the left tackle position, helping Josh Atkins out in terms of just depth pieces. So when Josh Atkins and Max Iancore, maybe they got tired a little bit on reps, or Marcus Arroyo seemed a little bit more catering his plays towards Emmett Bull's skill set, you saw how the swap of these left tackles added not more of the efficiency, but the effectiveness of this continued run game. So I really want to bring this up. I think it's really cool when you have a running game as a football team because it's ultimately a team effort. I know it's hyper-analyzed when you see a great passing offense, you see all the decision-making of the quarterback, and you tend to kind of devalue the importance of that offensive line because the ball is just moving so fast, you don't know where to watch, so your head is just going to where that ball is going, and you see all the athletic plays made by our receivers, the yards after catch, and ultimately the decision-making by Sam Leavitt. But what we saw, not only after halftimes, with Cam Skattebo already having 137 rushing yards by half, but ultimately adding another 123 in the second half, it pretty much showed us how effective this offensive line has been. I think it's really cool just seeing how the interior linemen have come together, and you can tell that they have that seniority. You can tell that they're just balling out with the intention of not only being productive, but putting out really good tape. And I think it was a cool feature just seeing back on Kenny Dillingham's presser in which he talked about how he had coached his previous 6 running backs. 5 out of the 6 of them were NFL running backs. They are playing on Sundays. And so when Kenny Dillingham had approached Cam Skattebo last year after the season and everything, he said, if you want to play on Sunday, you're going to drop weight and you're going to play a lot more disciplined. And one other feature that I absolutely loved was when Dillingham said the Cam Skattebo of last year probably would have ran that last running play in for a touchdown and would have given the opposing team an opportunity to score, put some points back on the scoreboard. But the Cam Skattebo of this year slid down and drained out the clock as we took 3 QB kneels to end the game. Honestly, these are just cool features and definitely a metric of growth for our bell cow, but more importantly, I see that established NFL talent. It's like the skill set can only go as far as the mindset for this running back, just as it goes for the offensive lineman. The coolest feature I love about this offensive line is how experienced they are. I mean, Josh Atkins was a transfer out of Hawaii, and you can tell he's just a plug-and-play left tackle, and he's been protecting the blind side of Sam Leavitt. And yeah, Sam Leavitt has taken 1 sack in each of the games, but it's not really the problem. I mean, you've ultimately seen this established identity, and I think that we're staying true to this running game. And even if they stack the box, I feel very confident in how effective we can in grounding and pounding. So we'll go into our next segment for the AMA right now. So on today's AMA segment, we have a comment or a question from Rudy. And he says, do you see Lee Fautanu playing on Sundays like his brother Troy Fautanu? I love this question so much because I am a Steelers fan, and Troy Fautanu, recently drafted as a left tackle from Washington Huskies. He is now the Pittsburgh Steelers backup tackle. He dealt with a little bit of injuries, but ultimately will become our franchise right tackle. And I love this because when you just think of family ties and the entire NFL, it's like these families really breed these NFL players. It's not something that you can just adapt to in a matter of a year or two. It's something that you have to be born with. It's like what people refer to as having that dog inside of you. And Lee Fautanu is interesting because he's going into a 5th year right now, and he really wanted to extend his college football life. And really, I think that Coach Dillingham has his back. I think that he knows that the alternative motive of playing on Sundays is pretty visible, and I think Leaf has the body type, the intangibles, the physical traits to translate to the NFL style type of ball. And right now, honestly, I think just dating last year, PFF rated him, at least the metric was that he didn't allow a single pressure to the quarterback at all last year, and I think it's been the same case these last 2 weeks. And ultimately, as he starts to play some heavier D linemen, and especially like an Oklahoma State or a Kansas State, I'm going to be very interested to see not only how he holds on to his block, but if he can travel to the second level, if he can extend some of these inside zones and just being his effective self. And ultimately, right now, it's like I just see a lot of chemistry with these 3 interior O linemen. That's why I kind of have a little bit of a skepticism on if Sean Nea will earn that starting role back again. But what's really cool is just how versatile these guys are. Cade Briggs is originally a center, and if Lee Fautanu ever goes down, we have Cade Briggs right there, Sean Nea plug and play. Ultimately, I see Lee Fautanu just being very healthy and strong this entire season, and I don't see why not. Why he couldn't prove himself to be a later 4th, 5th round center taken by a good blue blood team, and he gets coached up to be a starting center on Sundays. And right now, it's like, he's already going to the press conference. When you go to these pressers, these players have to be selected by the press team. The team isn't just putting out these players just by choice. It's by request. The media team requests to talk to these guys. And, the second guy on the player presser last week was Lee Fautanu. It was Cam Skattebo originally. He took all of the first questions because he had an historic night. But then it translated to Lee Fautanu questions. And ultimately, I just love the camaraderie with this offensive line. I can just tell that everyone has something to prove on and off the field. And right now, it's like, how could you be more motivated than to see your big brother in the NFL, and now you're over here and you're pretty much a part of this culture shift right now. It's like I tried to warn everyone. It's like this is the start of a dynasty, and anyone who is looking to be recruited from ASU or even just under the radar as a backup, especially like a Terrell Kim, who I think is going to be a bona fide starter next year, it's like it's so motivating to see how aggressive this offensive line has become. And ultimately, I'm really excited to see this unit play against some harder defenses, especially in the Big 12. And what's really going to happen is it's going to be a matter of how they battle through fatigue. And, we haven't faced a lot of adversity yet just because we've been blowing out our opponents and just been so physically dominant. But you're definitely going to get more fatigued as the season goes on and as opponents get harder. And right now, I honestly think Texas State is a sneaky matchup. The line right now is at 1.5 for us to win. So we're favored to win by 2 points, only 2 points. That is our lowest line of the season right now. These previous 2 games, we were just projected to win by 7. So ultimately, I think it's because we're going into San Marcos. We're going into Texas State just had a dominant win over UTEP in which they won 49-10. They established a lot of authority, and I'm really excited to see how these boys face the challenge, especially coming off of a 5-day turnaround. But I'm not worried. I like this O-line. Even if we were to drop this game, it's I'm not worried. I know that we can go up against a Tech, and we can win in Lubbock, and we can start the season 3-1. Ultimately, my goal is to get 4-0, but I'm really excited to see what this team is about. And I know the captain, Lee Fautanu, is the right guy to lead the charge, to lead these group. And these five linemen, and then including an Emmett Bull coming in just as a great depth piece, rotating throughout the game. It's these guys, I love how hard they play. And another cool feature that I absolutely loved was when Cam Skattebo reposted his AP Associated Press Offensive Player of the Week visual, and he tagged all 6 of his own linemen. That's pretty much a testament to how important the player evaluation and also the performance of this offensive line needs to be in order for Cam Skattebo to really project his passion, just exceed expectations as a runner to NFL scouts, and how well this offensive line plays will translate to how well Cam Skattebo plays. So I love our offensive line. I'm so excited for Thursday's game. And of course, we have another day of the Daily Pitchfork tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to get immersed in the 480 experience as we cover all the Arizona sports and pre- and post-game coverage of our Sun Devils. But forks up, guys. Activate the Valley. I cannot wait to play Kansas on October 5th. But more importantly, make sure to tune in on ESPN Thursday at 4:30 Mountain Standard Time. Thank you, guys.